Our readings this morning are from the Gospel of John, chapter 14, verses 8 through 17, and 25 through 27, and from the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 2, verses 1 through 21. Rabbi, Philip said, "Show us Abba God, and that will be enough for us." Jesus replied, "I have been with you all this time, Philip, and still you don't know me. Whoever has seen me has seen Abba God. How can you say, 'Show us your Abba'? Don't you believe that I am in Abba God and God is in me? The words I speak are not spoken of myself. It is Abba God living in me who is accomplishing the works of God. Believe me that I am in God and God is in me, or else believe because of the works I do. The truth of the matter is, anyone who has faith in me will do the works I do, and greater works besides. Why? Because I go to Abba God, and whatever you ask in my name, I will do, so that God may be glorified in me. Anything you ask in my name, I will do. If you love me and obey the command I give you, I will ask the one who sent me to give you another paraclete, another helper to be with you always, the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot accept, since the world neither sees her nor recognizes her. But you can recognize the Spirit because she remains with you and will be within you. This much I have said to you while still with you. But the Paraclete, the Holy Spirit, whom Abba God will send in my name, will instruct you in everything, and she will remind you of all that I told you. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. But the kind of peace I give you is not like the world's peace. Don't let your hearts be troubled. Don't be fearful." When the day of Pentecost arrived, they all met in one room. Suddenly they heard what sounded like a violent rushing wind from heaven. The noise filled the entire house in which they were sitting. Something appeared to them that seemed like tongues of fire. These separated and came to rest on the head of each one. They were all filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other languages as she enabled them. Now there were devout people living in Jerusalem from every nation under heaven, and at this sound they all assembled. But they were bewildered to hear their native languages being spoken. They were amazed and astonished. "Surely all of these people speaking are Galileans. How does it happen that each of us is hearing these words in our native tongue? We are Parthians, Medes, and Elamites, people from Mesopotamia, Judea and Cappadocia, Pontus and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia, Egypt and the parts of Libya around Cyrene, as well as visitors from Rome. All Jews or converts to Judaism, Cretans and Arabs too. We hear them preaching, each in our own language, about the marvels of God." All were amazed and disturbed. They asked each other, "What does this mean?" But others said mockingly, "They've drunk too much new wine." Then Peter stood up with the 11 and addressed the crowd. "Women and men of Judea and all you who live in Jerusalem, listen to what I have to say. These people are not drunk as you think. It's only 9 o'clock in the morning. No, it's what Joel the prophet spoke of. In the days to come, it is our God who speaks. I will pour out my Spirit on all humankind. Your daughters and sons will prophesy. Your young people will see visions, and your elders will dream dreams. Even on the most insignificant of my people, both women and men, I will pour out my Spirit in those days, and they will prophesy. And I will display wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below, blood, fire, and billowing smoke. The sun will be turned into darkness, and the moon will become blood before the coming of the great and sublime day of our God. And all who call upon the name of our God will be saved." May God bless the reading of these words, and may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be pleasing in God's sight. So today we celebrate Pentecost, the day when the Holy Spirit came in wind and fire, igniting a movement that would change the world. We remember the sound of a rushing wind, the tongues of fire, and the bold proclamation of the gospel in every language. Reading the Pentecost account in the Acts of the Apostles, we can feel like spectators, beholding a long ago event, dramatic yet distant. What does it have to do with us? What does Pentecost look like for us today? Is it just a story from long ago, a vivid moment in early church history? Or is it something more, something still alive, still burning, still blowing, still moving? Pentecost comes with tongues of fire and a rushing wind, but before that, it comes through the promise of Jesus and the breath of the risen Christ. In John chapter 14, Jesus speaks words of comfort to the disciples. I will ask the one who sent me to give you another helper to be with you always, the Spirit of truth. Jesus wasn't promising a distant or detached presence. He was promising a living Spirit, active and present, even in Jesus' physical absence. He said, you can recognize the Spirit because she remains with you and will be within you. That's the first answer to our questions. Pentecost isn't just a long ago and far away memory. It's a present day reality, if we'll open ourselves to it. The same Spirit who descended on the disciples dwells within us, in our hearts, in our churches, in our communities. Rather than trying to build up the church and God's kingdom with our own efforts, we're empowered by God's Spirit, whose power is now at work in us and can do immeasurably more than we ask or imagine. In Acts chapter 2, when the Spirit falls, people hear the message in their own native languages. You see, Pentecost didn't flatten culture to create unity. It amplified it. And like we talked last week, there can be unity in diversity. God didn't choose one language, but many. And Pentecost continues wherever the gospel speaks, into real lives, real struggles, real cultures, through real people. It means we don't need to all sound the same or look the same to be filled with the Spirit, because that same Spirit creates a unity that breaks all barriers. Pentecost today looks like a refugee child hearing about Jesus in her native language. A praise song sung in Spanish or sign language. A quiet conversation in a coffee shop that leads someone to hope. The Spirit meets us where we are and in who we are. In Acts, the disciples were behind locked doors before Pentecost, afraid, uncertain. But after the Spirit came, they stepped into the streets, speaking truth, facing crowds, and eventually persecution with boldness. Today, we may not face the same dangers, but we do live in a world of fear. Fear of the future, fear of failure, fear of rejection, violence, or despair. But the Spirit still comes. Pentecost today looks like a student taking a stand against bullying, a person embracing and living as their authentic self, a church advocating for justice even when it's unpopular. The Spirit gives us courage to love, to speak, and to act. Jesus said in John chapter 14, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. But the kind of peace I give you is not like the world's peace." Those are some pretty compelling and reassuring words in the days we live in. In a world filled with division, anxiety, and unrest, the Spirit offers a deeper peace. Not the absence of trouble, but the presence of God within it. I think that's why politician and civil rights activist John Lewis could say, "Do not get lost in a sea of despair. Be hopeful, be optimistic. Our struggle is not the struggle of a day, a week, a month, or a year. It's the struggle of a lifetime. Never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. So what does Pentecost look like today? It looks like communities coming together after tragedy, whether it's helping to rebuild after tornadoes in St. Louis or speaking out against anti-Semitic hate crimes in Boulder. It's people choosing forgiveness over revenge, like the folks of Mother Emanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina, forgiving the young white man who killed 9 church members at a Bible study. It looks like churches building bridges instead of walls, like 2 congregations created after a church split, finding ways to come alongside each other in ministry and mission. Wherever there is spirit-filled peace, Pentecost is alive. Pentecost isn't just what happened on that day long ago, but what kept happening afterward. A movement of people who believed in resurrection. A community marked by generosity, grace, and power. A church that grew not because of buildings, but because of bold hearts set on fire by the Spirit. Pentecost is the wonderful story of God's Spirit, always present, always active in human evolution, and given total and free expression in human form by Jesus of Nazareth. It's the story of people coming to awareness that that same Spirit that moved in Jesus moves in them. They realized it was their responsibility to give witness to the Spirit in their lives as totally and freely as Jesus did. Pentecost is the wonderful good news that all people who live in love live in God, and God lives in them. Pentecost presents a challenge to humanity. What would life on earth be like if the actions of all people were motivated by their awareness of being temples of God's Spirit? So today, let's not just remember Pentecost. Let's live it. Let's be people who listen to the Spirit's whisper, who speak with boldness, who live with peace, who welcome the diverse and the different, who let the Spirit lead us beyond the walls of the church into the streets of the world. If we're willing to be amazed, Pentecost is one of the most awe-inspiring days in the church calendar. If we're willing to be transformed, it's an opportunity to be renewed in energy and faithfulness toward the work of God's kingdom on earth when all people experience true liberation and boundless love. So may we be willing to be amazed. May we be open to being transformed. Pentecost isn't over. The fire still falls, the wind still blows, the Spirit still moves. May it be so. Amen.